Hey guys, it's Ann Yorks from the Flower Box, and I am so excited to bring you today's tutorial. It's all about back to school. So let's face it, the best part of back to school shopping is shopping for school supplies. So today we're celebrating back to school by making a happy bunch of school tools. First, we're going to make an open book that says welcome back to school. Then we're going to do a cute paper clip and a crayon and a glue bottle. We'll finish up with a scissors and a really happy pencil. Now with this project, we also have our kit that's available, and it has all of the essential tools to remake these cookies. You can find that on flowerboxbakery.com. Plus, I'll reference a couple times about free templates. Those are also available for download. And you'll need to check out the blog post. This has extra tips about baking and how to make these icing colors. And something really cool about this project is that this features 2 flower box stencils that we're going to be using today. So let's cookie it up. Let's start off with the open book cookie. The first thing I want to do is just get the binding of the book piped, and I'm also going to pipe the edge of the cover, and I'm using a red piping icing. And because this area is a little bit thicker, I'm just gonna bump my scribe through there and smooth it out just a little bit. I wanna add piped lines at this point because I want that to be just slightly visible, but our stencil is gonna take up the most area on this book. So we wanna make sure that we allow plenty of white space for our stencil at the end. Now you'll notice that I'm piping a double line along the edge, and again, that's just so that when we flood in the white, that red is still visible. Otherwise, if you don't have that second line there, sometimes that red can disappear a little bit. So I'm nice and generous with my flood icing. I have it in a tipless bag, and I'm just flooding that in. If you're looking for a recipe for the icing, you can find that on our website under the tutorials section. So I let that base icing dry for about 6 hours. It needs that long to dry because we're putting pressure on the surface. We don't want to put any dents in the icing. And now I'm using my stiff black icing to scrape the icing across the stencil. And I want to be really careful to make sure that I completely cover the stencil. See that little section of the S? I need to still fill that in. Then I'm going to remove any excess icing, and I'm ready to just pull that stencil gently back. It's almost like peeling up a sticker, and that reveals the awesome pattern for the words. Now this cookie is almost done. I just want to add some piped accents to really give the illusion that this is an open book. So I'm using my black icing to pipe just some edges to the book, and then I'm going to pipe some pages as well. If you get a little icing pop, sometimes that happens to me a little bit more often when I'm using a smaller tip like a tip number 1. It's just important to have really good hand pressure as you're squeezing the icing, and you can always patch those areas if you do get a little pop. It's nothing to stress out about. So we're almost done here. I'm just gonna pipe the book lines at the bottom, and then we're gonna add one more detail just in the center for the binding. And we have a really awesome welcome back to school cookie for either your kids or your teachers. So now let's make our happy paper clip. I love paper clips. I think they're the best school tool of all. And we're gonna keep this super simple. We're flooding in the white base. Again, let that icing dry for 6 hours before you stencil it. And now we're going to just stencil purple icing. I'm using the purple from Chef Master, and I just love the vibrancy of it. I just think it's awesome. So I just want to generously cover this stencil before I peel up and reveal our image. And we're gonna actually let that dry for about 20 minutes. We don't want it to be soft to the touch, because I'm gonna go back and stencil using this little happy face. Now, you can certainly pipe that face, but using the stencil keeps it really consistent from cookie to cookie, and that's one of our new stencils that we've just designed to go with this kit, but it's also available individually, and I see myself using that face on a lot of different cookies just because it's super quick and easy. And before we finish, we're gonna just add that catch light, and that really brings that face to life. Let's make this crayon cookie. I'm using red icing again, and to get those nice deep icing colors like red and black, I always make my icing colors the day before I decorate. It just really deepens overnight, and I don't feel like I need to add quite as much food coloring to my colors. Now we're using a stencil to pipe the crayon lines. And again, we're just gonna gently peel that back without smudging too much. And we'll allow those to dry for 15 to 20 minutes before we go in and add the face. Now, on all of these faces, I'm using the carnation pink to add a little blush to the cheeks. That just really brings this cookie to life. The carnation pink, it's awesome. It's FDA approved as edible, and it just adds such a nice little pop of color and rosy cheek. Here with my white, I've sized down to tip number 1. That keeps piping those letters nice and manageable and keeps them nice and small for that area. Let's make this cute glue bottle. So again, I'm still using the crayon cookie cutter. I love when one cutter can make 2 designs. If you have seen my hot dog cookies that I posted this summer, you'll also see I used the crayon cookie cutter to make a really cute ketchup and mustard bottle as well. But we're just gonna start off with outlining the glue bottle, and when I add the white, I don't wait. I go in and add the blue right away, almost like a wet on wet. And if those icing areas look a little wonky, you can go in and clean it up just a little bit. But I know I'm adding a piped line to that blue section, so I don't need to stress too much about that being perfect. Then after there's some time to dry, I'll go in and add the orange. Usually I allow at least an hour before flooding neighboring colors. And I've added my face to the glue bottle. I'm gonna add a zigzag pattern on the cap and my piped blue outline just to clean up that area. This cookie is so easy, it's almost done. I'm just gonna add the blushed cheek again, and I love how that pink looks on the blue. And before we're all done, again, we wanna add that little white catch light. And I have a tip number 1 when I'm adding those, just to keep them nice and small. The scissors, I'm gonna start with piping the handle first. And if you're not comfortable piping freehand, definitely check out the blog post. I have free templates on there for you to download. You can either use a projector to create these cookies, or you can print the template, cut it out, and using a food marker, add a couple of guidelines to help with your cookie decorating. It's definitely not cheating, it's decorating with confidence, and sometimes it's just helpful to have a line or 2 to guide where you're going to be piping and flooding. So I start off by flooding in the blades. I let that dry and I flood in the handle. And after everything dries, I want to add in this cute little happy face again. I'm using the stencil to do that so that they all match from cookie to cookie. This one's almost done. I'm just going to section off the blades. I'll pipe this one first so that it pops out from the background, and then I'll add another line onto the background blade just to finish off that area. I'm almost done. I'm just gonna add the catch light again and blush those cheeks. And it's amazing how those 2 little details really bring that scissors to life. Such a cute cookie. So now we're gonna do my favorite of the bunch. This is a back to school classic. We're gonna do the pencil cookie. And I'm gonna start off by outlining those icing areas. But in this whole set, I'm really not using a lot of pink. I'm actually using a 20-second icing, or a medium consistency for that. And you'll notice I outline and flood that area all with one bag, whereas the rest of them, I'm using a piping and a flooding icing consistency. So that's a little different. I'll let the yellow and the pink dry, and then I'm ready to flood in the gray and the brown. Again, with the brown, it's the same as the pink. I'm really not using a lot of brown on this cookie set, so I'm using one icing consistency just to keep it super easy, and I'll flood and outline those with the same. Now we're ready for some details. I want to add the face first. If you don't add the face first and you start with your details, you won't have a nice flat surface for that face. So we're going to add the face first, and we're going to go back in and add some lines for the pencil. And I just generally line up those lines with the waves in that top yellow line. Then I'll add a little piped accent to the gray area to look like the little metal connector. And we're ready for some pink cheeks and a catch light. And we have the most happiest pencil possible. Looking sharp. I hope you enjoyed this look at the back to school cookies. I had so much fun making all these happy school tools. Again, if you're interested in recreating these cookies, please definitely tag me on social media at Flowerbox Bakery or hashtag Flowerbox. I would love to see what you create. If you're looking to find these essential cutters and stencils, you can find them as a kit on flowerboxbakery.com, or you can pick them up individually as well. Post questions below. Let me know how I can help you in decorating these cookies. And as always, happy decorating!